Hi, this is Kunal from Loop 91. Welcome to our second episode in Flow Designer Series. In the first episode, we covered anatomy of a flow, anatomy of an action. We covered what consists of a flow, which is trigger, logic, actions, outcomes, and what consists of an action, inputs, the actual actions, and the outcome. If you understand this, continue with this video. If you're not sure and if you're not watched the previous video, I would suggest go back to previous video, watch it and come back here. I will put the link to that video in the description. Today we would be talking about two demos which clarify the logic part of a flow. We will create two flows which covers if-else logic and for loop logic. For our first demo, we want to create a flow on this table, project proposal. What we want to do is whenever a new record is created, we want to create a proposal task. Now you see on this particular project proposal, there is a existing task. We want to create a task which would have parent as project proposal. And for the second part of the flow, we will check the field project type, and if it value matches landing apparatus, we will set the assign to value here to Andrew Jackson. So let's get started. We will quickly open the Flow Designer. Once we are in Flow Designer, we will click New Flow. Demo 1, we'll keep it simple. Now remember, the trigger is whenever a new record is created on project proposal. So we will add that trigger here. Record is created, table, let it load. Yeah, so project proposal, and done. We don't want any qualifying condition there. And what is to be a first act? Create one proposal task. So on this, we will select an action, and there are many, but you can always search those. For example, what we need is create record. We will select the table name, that is project proposal. Now if we want that project proposal to be related to this table, we need to set the parent value to the project proposal that triggered this flow. Now since we want to use this trigger record, we'll look here, trigger record created, and first one is project proposal record. So we'll simply drag this here and put it here, and that's it. We will also set up short description, task created for. Now just to understand how drag and drop works, you can also drag values to string fields. For example, if I wanted to add number of the parent record, I could click here, record created, and expand, and then go to the number. So you see, task created for, and then the task number. Done. So we have covered the first part. The second part would be, we want to check if the project type is landing apparatus, and if it is, we need to update the parent project proposal and set assign to Andrew Jackson. So once we click on done here, we will now add flow logic. We had added action, now second time we are adding flow logic. If and check project type, and we want to select project type, trigger that created this record, and then project type. You can actually type the name of the field. That makes things a lot easier. So project type is landing apparatus. Done. What do you do if it is true? We will add an action here, and we will update the parent record. Again, because we are trying to update the record that triggered this flow, we can simply drag that pill from there and put it here. It will take care of the rest. It already populated the table name and the reference is there, right? So we wanted to change the assign to Andrew Jackson. That's it, done. Right, so now we think this works. Now we need to test it. And how would we do that? We would quickly change some values here. For example, we'll remove the Andrew Jackson so that we can see that works. Save. And we know that there is one proposal task associated with this record. So if I were to run test on this record, what I would expect that assign to changes to Andrew Jackson, and I want to see 2 proposal tasks in place of 1. So let's copy a number of this task. Go here, click on test, and we will search for this record. We got it. Run test. We will now look at the execution details. Now this is a very good thing about Flow, that it shows you the context and what values did system have at each step. For example, when you say, if you were to expand this particular step, that is trigger, it tells you what is happening. For example, it says the table name is this and the record output, the trigger output is this. This is the record that this flow is running on, and that is same as this one, 31605. Now for the second step, it had to create a new record. The configuration details are provided as we put in, but now you can look at the output data. The output data, for example, action status is the code was 0, which is no error, and the message was success, which tells us that this was a successful step. Don't treat as error, true. Don't treat this step function as an error. It gives you the table name where the output, the record was created, and it even tells you the record number. Now if you were to go to our parent record and reload this proposal task, let me see if that worked. Apparently not. So now we know something went wrong, right? So if we were to open this record here, so task created for is set currently. The parent is also set correctly. The only difference is, okay, now I know. We have wrong related list setup. So this is project task as in plural, and this is project proposal. So we selected the wrong name of the table here. So let's go back and edit it. This is a good example how we all make mistake and how we can quickly find the issue and fix it. So we now have to create a proposal task and not a project proposal. I will quickly set parent to be project proposal record and short description, same as before, task created for oh, that's wrong, right? So that's number and done. We will test it again. Do we have this? Yeah. So run test again. Open this and we will quickly see if this worked now. Yeah, so this is now created and we have the second record appearing here. And if you remember, there was 2 parts. So second part is it checked whether the project type was landing apparatus, and it comes out that is true, right? So it says evaluated true, and because it was evaluated true, this also happened, and it will tell you that it did assign to as Andrew Jackson, and we can go and look at the record, and yes, this is Andrew Jackson. So this is part 1 of demo. We will quickly move on to the demo 2. For the second demo, what I want to create is that whenever this record, any record on this table project proposal is marked as close complete, I want to close all the associated proposal tasks. For example, on this example record, if you see there are 2 proposal tasks, I want them also to be closed complete. Additionally, I would like an additional comment on the record here which says proposal closed. We'll quickly jump to the flow designer, create a new flow. We'll call it demo 2. We will set the trigger as record updated, since we expect record to be present before it is closed. Project proposal. Now that we know this flow will run on whenever record is updated, what we get from ServiceNow as a context is the number of fields that are changed. It is an array, so to find out which fields were changed, what we would do is we would run a for loop. So click on flow logic for each loop, and we will drag the changed field as a parameter, and what it gives is this, an object which contains which field name was changed, what was the previous value, current value, previous display, and current display value. So we want to see if the state field was one which was changed, state changed, and we will simply drag this field name here and we'll see if it is state. And we also want to make sure that the current value, the new value, is close complete. The close complete is 3. You can have a look here, you can go to the field, and if you have SN utils installed, you can just double click and open to see close complete is the value 3. And now we know that on this particular record that has triggered this flow, the state has changed to close complete. Right, so what is the next step? We need to find out which records were changed, right? So we will search for lookup records, plural, that is very important. We will select the table that is proposal tasks. We'll set conditions since we expect those record to have parent as the record that has triggered this flow, so we can drag that here. And we also need to make sure that these tasks are not already closed, right? So we will select not one of, and we select all close states, right? Close complete, close incomplete, and close skip. Done. Now that we know we are looping over all the tasks that we need to close, we will simply update those record, update record, drag the record here. We are in, oh wait, we need to run another for loop, right? So this has given us number of records and we need to run a loop on these records. So we'll add flow logic for each and we'll pass that as parameter to loop over. And now for each we have this flow. So now we will update those record, update record, and drag this here, set the field state to close complete. Done. So now we have covered this part where project proposal is marked as state equals to close complete. We have gathered all the associated proposal tasks which are not already closed and we have closed them. Now we need to update the parent record and add an additional comment which says proposal closed. So we will click here, action, update record, and since this is the parent record, the record that triggered this flow, we'll drag that here and we will add additional comment. Proposal closed, all children task closed as well. Done. Now to test, we cannot test it because we need a trigger where a field has changed. So what we can do is we will activate this and go and change state on this project proposal to close complete. We will save this. And yep, we already have it. If we go down, we see both the tasks associated with this record have been closed complete, and we have an additional comment which says proposal closed and children task closed as well. That's it for this episode. We have covered two logics, if and for loop today. I hope you learned, and I'll see you in the next episode. As always, if you like the video, click like, subscribe, and if you really liked it, if you're being generous to us today, share it with others. Thank you.